Welcome back to Fast Charging with B&B. I am Brian.
I'm the bear.
And we're on part 7 of our Blank is Doomed series. This week we're discussing the true leader in electric vehicles, General Motors. Very exciting.
Yes, as our government tells us over and over, GM is the leader, and so is Mary Barra.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's look at this lineup here.
Is there any truth to this?
Well, I think we're going to find out. This Cadillac, I have seen it in person. It looks exactly like you expect it to. Just to say, I wasn't super jazzed about it.
Is that
at the LA
that's
show.
the Lyric, right?
I believe it is, yeah.
Okay, because it almost has the Celestique look to it. With that,
well, maybe it isn't. I'm wrong, but I think that's the Lyric. This concept over here, love it, love it. But that's true of all concepts. They never end up looking like that, do they?
No, they don't. To me, that looks like the electric version of a Camaro, and I think it's beautiful, very sharp.
Gorgeous.
I wish it was real and not just a picture. And we know this is a picture because in the background we see a Hummer that is not white. So we know that this is definitely a render.
That's true. The Trailblazer is going to be real very soon. The Silverado is going to be real.
That's a Blazer.
Oh, sorry, not a Trailblazer. My mistake.
Yeah. The Equinox, I think in the far right, the red one far right is an Equinox.
Okay. So unlike Ford, they do have trucks to show and cars to show. The Hummer is definitely real. The delivery van, is that Bright Drop?
Yes.
Okay.
Bright Drop, Bright Side, something like that. It's bright, but those exist and those have been delivered. I have not seen one in person. I've seen the Cadillac, the Hummer. I have not seen the Equinox or the Blazer. And that beautiful car on the right probably does not exist.
You were right. I think that is the Celestique. The Lyric is what I saw. And or maybe I did. I don't remember now which one I saw.
I think the Celestique is the silver one.
If you scroll down the page, you can click on them. And you'll see which one's which. The Lyric is silver. Yeah. And the Celestique. So, at any rate.
Just weird.
Let's talk about their engineering. This first article, CNN pulling no punches, GMC Hummer EV is a brilliant execution of a terrible idea. And, boy, I got to tell you, I am not impressed. 9,000 pounds plus.
You know what? I don't care how much it weighs. It's, who cares when it comes down to it? I know that it has an effect on the range, but if it needs to be 9,000 pounds, you're not buying this car because it's a lightweight car. I've never gone into a dealership and said, how much does this car weigh? The fact that it's 9,000 pounds means you're going to be able to get even more tax deductions anyway. So
it's almost 3,000 pounds heavier than the Hummer H2. and it's very expensive. I think the weight, to me, speaks to the poor quality of engineering.
You see, now that is a good point. And if they could reduce the weight, they definitely could increase the range. And that would be nice because this vehicle, I think, still only comes in slightly over 300 miles of range for 110,000 pounds. So one day I will let you ride in my not yet bought Hummer that is on order in 2025. So that's part of a roadmap problem.
We will get to that. I bought my mom a Chevy Bolt EV. Here's how it went. Yeah, they're boring is what they are. And I wouldn't complain too much about little problems on new cars. Big bullet point, dealerships suck.
Yeah.
There's, in terms of, and it charges pretty darn slow.
Yes, maximum 50 kilowatt charging on that vehicle, which is shameful whenever I go to an Electrify America station in any one of various cars. I am in and out of there before the Bolt that was there when I got there can leave because of the 50 kilowatts. It is substantially slower and has a real life effect on the people charging their cars. You said the car is boring. I say it's boring, plus it tries not to be boring, which means you have all sorts of odd things going on, which I think you can see without me getting into that. But they are selling these cars a lot more than they used to, and this car is taking off the tax incentives, make this car dirt cheap for an EV.
Yeah. Yeah. So for engineering, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you thinking?
Are we
For
including?
GM as the brand, as the whole brand.
And we're including the future products that they actually haven't
Uh,
released,
the ones that are on the immediate horizon, yes.
which is the Blazer, the Equinox, and the Silverado. And I'm actually super impressed with all three of those. So
Okay.
as much as I don't care for the Bolt and the lack of fast charging on it, or real fast charging, uh, I'm I'm actually going to give him an 8.
Wow. I'm only at 6 on that
Yeah.
because there's too much room to improve, and I may revise that upward in the future as those new vehicles come out. Then we've got questions like demand. Demand for this range of products, I think, is going to remain very strong because they've got something for everything in models that are either available or will be soon.
Yeah, very soon. So I don't mean
Yes.
tomorrow, but we are talking this year on some of these products. So demand, I think, is going to be extremely high, and I think, like what you said, they've got a wide range. We've talked about Ford, and Ford having three things. One of them is a commercial vehicle. So now they have two things. One's a pickup truck, and one is sort of an SUV. And we don't know what's coming next. GM has kind of laid out that roadmap and said, here's what's coming, and it's coming soon. They've got great aspirations to dethrone Tesla. Will they do that? I don't think so, at least not for a while. But I do think that they could actually be the real number two.
I think they could too. They've got, just with what we've seen laid out here, something in every segment. They've got the cargo van, they've got, yeah, the car, they've got the SUV, they've got the CUV. I mean, they've got it all. They've
Yes,
got it all. So I think I'm giving them a 9 for what they've got.
I cannot disagree with that number.
Okay. So then we get to cost controls. So if we go to the next one here, we see GM CEO, the merriest of bearers, says electric vehicles to be profitable by 2025.
I think that's a good time frame, because the funny thing is that despite the last two good ratings that we've given them, the only car that they've managed to really produce has been the Bolt
Yeah.
in any substantial numbers. So they are going in on the low end car, so they don't have far to go. Hummers, I don't know what their production numbers are, but we know that those are extremely low and very limited because you can only get them in white.
I believe they sold in Q1, and I'm not joking, 2.
Really.
Yeah. That was the wrong vehicle, you guys. What were you thinking? But hey, fine, whatever.
So
Maybe it's their,
it does make you wonder about what's the issue. What is the issue?
I don't know.
Why
I don't know.
why
What do you
why
mean?
can't are they taking a steep loss on it, so they're just slowing down until they can ramp
I think that's
everything up?
part of it, and I think with batteries constrained, they can build 4 Bolts or a Hummer. 3 or 4 versus 1 Hummer. And I think that's a mistake, a grave mistake. And I
Yeah.
do think they're losing money because that battery is over 200 kilowatts, and that is a mistake.
Well,
But the Silverado is also, no, it's the Ram that's going to have the 218 whatever, 230. I don't remember. It's
yeah.
ginormous for no reason. Well, for a reason, but
Well, the Cybertruck is also going to be over 200, isn't it?
we haven't heard, and I don't think it's going to be quite that high. But
Well,
We'll see. We'll find
We
out.
we will see. Probably one of the problems why the Ram is going to be so large is because the truck is going to be so heavy.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
doesn't look like they did much to change the vehicle, much like the F-150 with the
Yeah.
Lightning. There wasn't much change, so you didn't get all those efficiencies from cutting costs or cutting weight, well, which
So
is
for
really a shame.
cost controls, I'm giving them a 7. They're not profitable yet, but they are still very early in this. And I do believe, maybe not 25, but certainly 26. I think cost controls are above average and not gruesome. What's your thought?
Number did you say? 7?
7.
No, I'm going to 6 because right now the only thing that they're really making is the Bolt, and they've been making the Bolt for many, many years.
Yes.
We're not seeing Hummers. We're seeing very few Lyrics. So it's really what they're really saying is, in order to be profitable, well, they haven't been able to be profitable on these Bolts that have existed for what? How many years are we at? 10 yet?
No, I think the Volt would go back 10, but not the Bolt.
Okay.
But remember, for every one of these they sell, that's probably 2 or 3 ZEV credits they don't have to buy. So that's
Yeah.
a hidden bit of money to the bottom line that helps. Cash on hand, 31 billion. And it was an increase in 2022. They finished 2022 with more cash on hand than they started. 31 billion, pretty good. What do you think?
Wondering how much of that money came from me.
That's great. What are we thinking? I'm going to
No,
say,
it's. I'm saying that's decent.
yeah,
It's not tops on our list.
nope. I'm giving it a 7.
Okay.
What do you
I'll give it a
think?
7 also.
Okay.
It's second place to Ford,
Yeah,
and they do have an increase over from 21 to 22, so that's good. That is good.
yeah, yeah. So then we get to the roadmap. I'm impressed.
Oh yeah, I'm very impressed with their roadmap. So at least they're not being secretive about it. So I don't want to give anybody a 10. So
No.
I'm gonna just give them a 9.
They are saying they are also planning 50% of their new car sales will be EV by 2030. And this is, yeah. Again, I think demand will be higher than 50%. So, roadmap, what did you say?
9.
9. Ooh, I'm going with 8. And you're going with 9. So that's going to give us a pretty good score, I think. We might have a new leader here.
Yeah, Mary Barra.
Yeah, the true EV leader. I don't know how we didn't see it before. 6 and an 8. Okay. Double 9s. A 7 and a 6. Boy, these are big numbers, Bear. 7 and a 7. And an 8 and a 9. Oh my gosh. I believe we do have a new leader by a lot. 76 is the score. And I don't think that's crazy. I think this is. I think they are going to survive. I think their roadmap is correct. I think, yeah, their cash reserves, while not the highest on the list, are close to the highest on the list. And although I guess Ford had over 40, but both numbers I think are adequate to get the job done. They do have a very expensive path ahead to get to profitability, and just to survive, really. But I believe they can do it. I think they've got all the pieces.
Despite all this, we're not doing the doomed thing on Tesla. I don't think Tesla has any chance of being doomed with their current business model, and I do think they are still kicking all of these companies' asses all over the place.
Yeah, yeah, they are. They are the actual leader in EVs. No matter how angry that makes some people, it's still true. And
Just the
I mean, I
facts.
guess if there's enough comments saying we should absolutely do that, yeah, okay, we'll do that. But I just don't think it's
Is it?
necessary. But
It's not necessary because It just isn't. We don't have a
Yeah.
design category, and that's the only thing that's an opinion, is whether or not you like the design.
Yeah. I do want to thank my patrons who get early access, in many cases, bonus content, in many cases, and to help keep the channel running, in all cases. So thank you all for your decision to support the channel. It's important and I appreciate it.
Yes, and today on this episode, on this very last, second to last episode of Who is Doomed, I just want to give my special thanks to Brian, who spent all the time putting all this stuff together while I just rode his coattails right into this.
I
Thank you,
figured
Brian.
I appreciate the kudos. I figured since I was the one putting you at such a disadvantage with my long extended trip to, I don't know, prison where I went, I'm not sure, that it was only fair. And I knew you were super busy too, so, hey man, I'm good at this.
All
All
right.
right.
That
Thanks,
being
everybody.
said, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and
We're out.
and we will be back for one more of these tomorrow. Unless you guys love it so much, we have to keep going. And tomorrow we're going to discuss BYD, doomed or not. We'll find out.
Doomed.